from my sources tell me that the palace is rather happy that nothing is being done because they don't want focus on Diana anymore. They want to place her in the past and move forward.
Christopher, it is always a pleasure to catch up with you, and especially on such a big week. We are, marking the 25th anniversary of Princess Diana's death, which is crazy to say. I can't believe it's been 25 years. And you wrote such an amazing book, The Day Diana Died, and you are re-releasing it on Amazon on ebooks. What was it like writing this book? And I mean, so much research and so many interviews went into this book. And, what's it like kind of re-releasing it on the 25th anniversary?
Well, it's a little bit like for the previous generations, I think Pearl Harbor and the assassination of JFK. Well, I remember the assassination of JFK too, but everybody really remembers where they were, if they were old enough to remember, when they heard the news that Diana had died. We had a dinner party going on at our house here in Connecticut, and a lot of people here, and my daughter, who was then 16, Kate Anderson, who's now a best-selling author, by the way, but she came down. She said, Princess Diana's been in this terrible accident, and I think she's dead. And I'm telling you, people left this house that there wasn't even time for tears at that point. It was shock and disbelief because she was the most famous and probably beloved person in the world, And I mean, I thought the story was astounding, of course, and I got on the phone to my agent, who was actually on a train in Japan. And we went to my publisher at the time, William Morrow, and they said, yes, do this. I had another book on Jackie Kennedy coming out, so I wrote 2 books simultaneously.
Oh my God.
But
wow.
Yeah, I know. And the Jackie book was a very big bestseller. It was called Jackie After Jack, that her years after that assassination. That came out in February, and then The Day Diana came out on the first anniversary of her death. Writing the book involved my going and interviewing the nurses in the hospital, who haven't spoken since, I'll tell you, because it was I was able to get these people right after the event had occurred, pretty much. And, the person who gave her last rites, the priest, and sat with her body for hours, the doctor who treated her in the tunnel, Dr. Frederick Maillet, and people like that, people who were there, eyewitnesses to history. So it was quite an astounding, chore, task to do, but I loved doing it, and I think the book was a paid tribute to her, and it actually exploded a lot of myths. One of the things that happened, and I think it's unfortunate, is that people think, yes, indeed, she was chased by the paparazzi. Was she chased to her death by the paparazzi? I think it was a classic drunk driving accident. I think Henri Paul, I proved beyond a shadow of a doubt, had 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his system. He was under the influence of these powerful drugs, antidepressants, because his girlfriend had just moved out, and he was depressed, and nobody was wearing seatbelts. I mean, for the first time, practically in her adult life, Diana chose not to wear a seatbelt. And the ultimate irony there is, of the 4 people in that car, Diana was the only one really who was I think, who should have been driving. She wasn't drunk. Her driving record was, perfect. And all these various strange twists of fate combined to create this terrible tragedy.
Yeah.
You speak about the hospital staff that you spoke with. Why do you think that they never spoke again? I mean, you were so lucky to sort of speak to them so quickly after the accident. Why do you think that they never spoke about their experiences? Well,
at the time, I think they wanted to. They were, again, still in a state of shock. It lasted for, I think we're still in a state of shock about it, to be honest with you. These people were, Beatrice Humbert, who was the chief nurse at the hospital in Paris, where they took Diana's body, in essence, she described looking down, so it's the opening scene of the book, looking down at the face of the most beautiful woman in the world. And thinking that it's going to come alive any minute because she can't possibly be dead. And those kinds of feelings, and how she was witness to Prince Charles coming into the room and seeing Diana for the first time, and the air conditioning that was on sort of lifted Diana's hair, a lock of her hair up. And it was, for a moment, she looked so lifelike to him. She was laying there in already placed in a coffin. And he practically she said it looked as if he was going to faint. He reeled back as if he'd been struck by some unseen force, is the way she put it. So all these these people, I think, felt that they knew they witnessed history and really wanted to share it with them. But there was so much drama afterwards, as you know. And over the last 25 years, I think the 25th anniversary, and nothing has been planned. I mean, I think the royal family, from my sources, tell me that the palace is rather happy that nothing is being done, because they don't want focus on Diana anymore. They want to place her in the past and move forward.
Why do you think that is? I mean, she's such a big part of royal history, and drama aside, she did do so much good, and she is the mother of the future king. I mean, why do you think that they are trying to just kind of distance themselves from her, so to say?
There's always been tremendous resentment on the part of the factions in the royal family and in the monarchy of Diana's popularity and her enduring popularity. And I think that continues to this day. I mean, there's a constant effort to portray her as this neurotic, and yes, she was made a little crazy by the circumstances she was put in, but she also made such tremendous contributions where other royals couldn't, to her efforts to get rid of landmines, and it goes on and on. She had that ability to touch people that the royals never had. Mm-hmm. And we all remember the Queen took tremendous heat for her reaction. They don't want to be reminded of that, how close they came to toppling the monarchy, because the Queen just didn't at the time get it, And she's in bad shape right now, and I think everyone really wants to focus on her, and they're taking advantage of the rift between William and Harry. I mean, if William and Harry were together, if there wasn't this friction between them, I'm sure we'd be seeing a big, memorial service of some sort. They did it on her 10th anniversary of her death. But that gets in the way as well. So.
You spoke about how Diana's death almost brought down the monarchy. Can you expand on that and what stopped that from happening? What prevented that unraveling?
Well, to his credit, Charles did. He realized how popular she was, and what happened was that the Queen remained. The palace issued a very brief statement after Diana's death, and then the Queen remained on holiday in Balmoral. Did not come back to London, where people were, filling the streets, and there were oceans of flowers, put at the palace gates. The headlines read in all of the papers, where is the Queen? Why aren't they flying the flag at half staff over Buckingham Palace? They refused to do it. The excuse that's been given since was the Queen was, comforting William and Harry, who were quite young at the time, back at Balmoral. But fact remains that she did not want Charles, the Queen did not want Charles to go and pick up Diana's body, for example, because Diana was no longer technically a member of the royal family. She had lost her HRH status. The Queen did not want any special kind of funeral initially for Diana. The Queen had to go and give as you may recall, she had to go before cameras and basically deliver an apology to the British people to try and win them back. And when Diana's coffin passed the Queen on its way to Westminster Abbey for the funeral service, the Queen literally bowed to the coffin. I mean, and she was basically asked to do this by Charles. Charles knew what was going on, and he wanted Diana to be get the respect that she deserved. So he and Tony Blair, the Prime Minister at the time, thought to it that happened. But that wasn't the initial feeling of the royal family at all. As a matter of fact, I have a very chilling moment in the book. Made headlines at the time when the book came out, when the Queen actually asked, within hours of learning of Diana's death, if she had any royal jewels on her, because Diana often traveled with pieces of the crown jewels, jewels of beyond, and the nurses relayed a scene where the consul general rushed in the room and said, "Where are the jewels?" The Queen wants to know where are the jewels. Well, Diana did not have any royal jewels with her at the time, but who was thinking of that? Right. Queen was.
You do write in the book, though, how you mentioned Prince Charles, and how did her death affect him? And I mean, I think you write in the book how he went searching for one of her earrings, and kind of really wanted to make sure that everything was in place for her. Even though they weren't together, a lot of things happened between them. Her death really did affect him.
It was very touching. I mean, like I said, he almost passed out when he saw her body there. He was devastated and surprised everyone, because everyone thought, well, this was a man who, obviously there was a tremendous they've been bad blood between Diana and Charles for years. They've been warring for years. But he was devastated. This was the mother of his children, after all. And at one point, he wanted her to be buried with these favorite earrings of hers, and she only had one earring on when they brought her to the hospital. Well, the earring was later dug out of the dashboard of the car. And by the way, the forensic information in the book I find fascinating, because that car was, in many ways unsafe to drive. It had been, the brake lights had gone on the previous day because the brakes were worn down. The car had once been stolen and parts were sold off. The car that she was in, we know that Doty was famous for pushing his chauffeurs to speed, and even Trevor Rees-Jones, the bodyguard who survived, had, which I reported in the book, had a run episode. So none of the people in the car were particularly sterling, except for Diana, in terms of driving and driving safety.
You talked about how the royal family hasn't really planned anything for today. Is it surprising that Harry and William are not doing anything together?
Well, yes, I think it is, and I think I think Diana would be. I think most people would find it heartbreaking, the fact that there's still this tension between them. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be interesting the next few days when Harry and Meghan, go to Europe, and they're going to be playing royal hide and seek, there, because right now all the Cambridges have gone to Balmoral, as I thought they would. And Charles and Camilla are there. They're out of the way during the first part of the Sussex's trip to Britain, but on I believe the 8th, the Sussexes returned to Britain from Germany, and they're going to be literally a brief stroll of each other on the grounds of Windsor, because the Cambridges have to put their kids in school. So it's going to be really, it's going to have all the markings of a old-fashioned farce, with these people trying to avoid each other. They don't want to see each other because everybody's worried about the book. Harry's book is going to be loaded with, obviously, bombshells, I would imagine. Almost anything is going to disturb them. And I don't think they want to talk to him until they've seen it.
For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.